The first show in Project Red has ended. Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. So what is Project Red? Well, it's Super Sentai's replacement, because Super Sentai has ended for now. Now, I can't really talk about how Infinity appeals to Super Sentai because I only seen one Sentai show. But I can talk about the Meta Hero series. What is Meta Heroes? Well, it was the Kamen Rider replacement in the 80s. The first show in Project Red's name comes from the original Space Sheriff Gavan. And if you want to know my thoughts on that show, go check out my review. But basically, I had a lot of fun with the original Gavan because of the show's amazing stunt work. Thanks to the amazing Kenji Oba. Sadly, this year Kenji Oba did pass away. One thing I learned on the Blu-ray, thanks to Mike Dent, Kenji Oba was told if Gavan was a failure, everybody would be fired. So he pushed himself to his limits, and that makes me have so much respect for Kenji Oba. But what does Infinity take from the original Gavan besides the name? The Gavan's transformation is known as Jochat, also known as Electroplate. It's taken from the original Gavan. Seeing the transformation twice is from the original Gavan. In Infinity, we see a new version of Dole. The Gavarian blade is based off the laser blade. In the final episode, it looked like Infinity does the OG Gavan finisher, and he also gets his own laser blade. We see in Infinity, the robot has a lot of add-ons, like the original Gavan having lots of vehicles like Scooper. The commander's last name is named after Amanda Crom, and we can't forget about Maku Space, it's from the original show. Death Gavan is basically Hunter Killer. You see, Hunter Killer was a space sheriff, and he betrayed his partner, that was Gavan's father. Similar to Death Gavan. Death Gavan was a hero who betrayed Infinity's mentor. I know we're gonna see a Gavan Killer, but I don't know too much about that yet because I haven't seen the movie. Gavan Infinity also cates from the other Meta Hero shows. Now, Gavan Raya I know is based off Jiraiya, but I hadn't seen that show yet. But I can talk about the other two Space Sheriff shows, Charavan and Shida. Let's first talk about my thoughts on Space Sheriff Charavan. Denega is a cool character. His whole motivation is he wants to revive his planet, and also he's more quick to Angel instead of Gavan. And it was nice to see Gavan as a captain in the show. Lily is Charavan's ally, and she is really cool. The villain group Motto is a really good villain group. My favorite is General Gila. This show does a really good job with the characters, they are all really likable. This show even made me like Kojiro, a character I did not like in the original Gavan. Now my thoughts on Shida. Dai is a decent character. He's played by Hiroshi Sugawara. He's the grandson of Ichi Sugawara, the father of Tokusatsu. I thought that was really cool, but sadly, Hiroshi Sugawara would pass away at the age of 37. Now my favorite character would be Annie. Her motivations were really interesting because Fuma destroyed her planet and her people. So we mainly see her going out, investigating and fighting. She was just a really cool character. The villain group Fuma was fun. My favorite one has to be High Priestess Poe. She was just really interesting. Both shows, Charavan and Shida, are really good. But out of the Space Sheriff trilogy, my favorite is still Gavan. Now we have to talk about the Heisei Space Sheriff trilogy. These three films are a lot of fun. Gavan, it was cool to see Kenji Oba again, and Geki was a good Gavan. I wish we saw him in Gavan Infinity. My favorite one had to be the Charavan movie. That film was just a lot of fun. It was cool to see Den again. In the Shida film, it was nice to see Kojiro and Annie. Especially seeing Annie talk about Dai got me emotional. So what does Gavan Infinity take from the Space Sheriff trilogy? Kiki's partner, Kodo, kinda reminds me of Annie or Lily, with them being their Space Sheriff's close partner. Now Gavan Infinity has a giant robot, and honestly, I thought it was just because of Super Sentai. But in Shida, Shida's ship, the Babalos, his ship can transform into a giant robot and a gun. Very similar to Infinity's ship/robot. Now, the three main Gavans, Infinity is red, kinda like Charavan. Bushido is silver, like the original Gavan. Luminous is gold, and we do see a golden space sheriff in the High Stakes Charavan film. That is some of the similarities I noticed in Gavan Infinity to the past Space Sheriff shows and movies. I guess let's finally talk about Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, and what are my thoughts on the show. To be honest, I did not care for it. This show is just a mess. The characters are likable, but I wish they were better written. I like the suits. Death Gavan is probably my favorite suit. One thing I did not like in the show is how they just kept using one monster again and again. For a show about a mention hopping, we mainly stick with the three main universes. Sure, there is some episodes where we see different Gavans, like Aunt Gavan being my favorite Gavan. The reason why that bothers me though is because there's a premonition where we see all these Gavans team up. And when it finally happens in the show, some of the Gavans we don't even know. This show was such a mess and I was so disappointed. I'm just hoping the next show in Project Red, Omega Horn, will be a lot better.